Hi, this is Matt Donegan at Challenger Stories. I'm here with Milosz, co-founder and director of ChiliFruit. ChiliFruit are a digital PR and link building agency working with many digital businesses. Milosz, tell me about the business. How long have you guys been around?
Matt, first of all, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure. Now it's my turn to shine, right? And say something about my business. It's a always uncomfortable question, because I just don't like to pitch, maybe. So you asking me about my business, and generally speaking, well, we've been doing this for donkey's years now. Officially, I started the company. I set it up company 5 years ago. But obviously, there were, I was first like as a freelancer for a very long time. Then I had my base of the clients, and then I wanted to go more professional, and I realized that I don't want to be alone doing this. So I wanted to have my team, and having a company would be a great start. And I think I was quite lucky because I did that just before the COVID. And when the COVID started, everything shifted towards online. So it was just like, well, I've been doing this already for so many years now. So I would just catalyze on, it would be like a catalysator. And it was massive, like massive opportunity for us because lots of clients in COVID. I think and there's so many stories around. So I'll just try to be short.
Okay, so look, you've been building the business for a while now. You're specialists in link building, digital PR, generating traffic effectively, and the effectiveness of monetizing digital businesses. Have you got a specialism? Is there a sector that you're particularly strong in?
Yeah. So the link building was our specialization. So the link building now is more digital PR. Well, it depends on how you look into that. But effectively, what people want is they want their business, online business, to be seen via Google or through the Google as authority, right? So you need to have authority. And how you do it, whether you're going to do this by a classic link building that is never actually changing and has been around for the last, I would say, as long as Google exists. So it's been becoming bigger and bigger, but it's a volatile. It's because the Google is introducing a lot of changes. So everyone gets the heart attack when there is a Google update. But is this almost the same as Donald Trump will set the new tariff, right? So new tariff, and then your S&P probably will a little bit fluctuate again. I mean, I'm having the S&P, and I try to, put something aside. So I know if I start reading what's happening in politics, I might get a heart attack. So I don't read it. And to be honest with you, that was one of the best decisions because the S&P is growing same way as Google is growing, and all the digital businesses are growing. To be honest with you, they have bad times, good times. COVID was a good example, but we're still alive and we're still making money. We're still growing, right? So at the end of the day, the longer you are, you just realize that yes, they're gonna be in every business, in even your life. There will be the situations where you will have to figure out quickly, and there's no book for that. So that's, I think, is the beauty of that, because that's how life is. So life is just a reflection of your business, to be honest with you. And if everything is too quiet, too great, is also dangerous because it's too great. It just cannot be like that way. And it's been like that since we had this 2008, right? I remember back then I used to live in London, and London was a little bit affected by the 2008 the economy that happened in the US. But then we just after 2, 3, 4 years got back to normal, and everything was like driving nicely. The market was going up. No issues, everything was up, and then COVID came. And then after the COVID, we've got the new president, we've got the war. This has an impact on our businesses. Even online, we see that as well.
Yeah.
So I think it's amazing to see that,
Well, I
how
mean,
you thrive in that.
there's been a number of shockwaves through in the last 20 years. You've had the great financial crash, which is what you're referring to in 2008, like pretty much global meltdown. And then we've also obviously we've had COVID, and then in the UK we've had the ramifications of Brexit, which have had ramifications and continue to do so. So it's been challenging with the what's been happening in Ukraine and other areas around the world. And let's definitely not go into politics because that's a rabbit hole we shouldn't be going down. But let's talk about the businesses that you work with. So you work with SaaS. The SaaS is a real strength for you, but also you've got real estate businesses. You're pretty strong in those guys. Is that right?
Any business that is sort of depending I would say, from the Google search. And to Google, right? Like we would say 2 Google layers. So when you're driving traffic through the Google, it's usually your B2B. People are searching you or your services or queries, whatever it does, like real estate. I want to buy a flat in London. So these are the queries, specific queries that related to buy something, right? So they have this intention. You would differently look for the games. You don't look for the game, let's say you want to buy or something, or you do the research when you don't use the Google. So for example, depending on your business, if there is well-known need, well-known search intent, the intent of buying something, and people know about it, Google is probably the best because it's one of the biggest, right? So as well. And yes, surely they will be doing the research through the YouTube, but the business starts from the Google, to be honest with you, the majority. So like online trading businesses, anything e-commerces, right? Because now we're buying through the e-commerce. Sure, fine, yes, you can have the app, but people are searching as well a lot using Google still. So if you can imagine any digital business that is, I would say, depending from the Google search, that would be for us a good, yes, but we specialize more in SaaS, B2B. Real estate is also one of our now new sort of way to get there. Online trading was really good for us and still is quite strong. Online casinos as well. They seem to be very big and people play online. So we also by accident, we find out that we've been asked, can we do this? We said, let's try. And it was a COVID. So everyone was playing, betting, and like betting was that time was shut. So everyone was playing casinos. And then you find your way to grow someone else, a business. And it's interesting to see that we can be a partner and grow someone else's business. I think this is the most rewarding part of my business.
Yeah. So look, there's been massive changes. There have been massive changes in the whole digital landscape. We've got the march of AI that's coming through. There's been huge changes in SEO. Obviously, before, in the past, it was link building, but it was also about tagging on your site. There's talk about semantic SEO. Now, I'm a bit of a marketing geek. I love all this stuff. So tell me, what are the big trends? If you can give me like 5 trends that are going to help businesses really develop their website traffic, what are they at the moment? What would you focus on? What's your recommendation?
It's been a lot of buzz about the AI and AI productivity, building AI agents. But it's, again, the technology as of now is very young, to be honest with you. So practically speaking, there's all limitations what you can do. And I thought that is going to be something like it's completely changed everything. No chance. I've looked at the statistics and the user acquisition. So sure, OpenAI, ChatGPT is growing fast. However, it would need to reach to the same number of users as Google has per day. It would need another 10 years. So it's just impossible, right? You see, so people like taking these buzzwords for granted, but they don't see how long or like you're comparing something little, I don't know, 1 Canada Square. It's what used to be one of the highest buildings in London. I don't know, to just something. You see, we were so far. It's still so far. It's just the buzz at the end of the day. It's about, yes, people using a lot. It's changing a lot, changing industries, but it is still coming. And I don't think we can change that. But that it has to be regulated. So I think sooner or later, everything is going to be regulated. And now what we see with this buzzword and with this trend, even publishers, big publishers, I'm talking about Sky News, BBC, they're already blocking ChatGPT because they won't have their own content to, not to be shared with third-party ChatGPT, for example. It's just one of the examples. So big publishers already doing that. Yeah. So it sounds like it's someone is overtaking us, but it's not there yet. So that's one trend. Second, you've mentioned about semantic, I think. Semantic basically is synonyms in simplicity.
What did you say there? It's what?
Synonyms. You could also say they're synonyms, right? Semantic, it's in simple words. Semantic, it is very specialized, right? If you want to be very semantic, but you would have to probably people who are I don't know, the doctors, I would say, PhDs in that sense, and they look at your content, and then maybe they semantic changes in your content. But it's semantic in a simple way, is looking words that your customers typing in Google and they're searching for, whatever that could be in your business. Let's say in online trading, on or real estate, right? Whatever you're looking for, there is the intent, and the intent can have let's say few sort of landscapes, right? So semantics are just literally different words interconnected, how far they are. But if you're saying something, you have a meaning, so that Google can understand you better. So that's what it is with the semantics. It's just another buzz. But in reality, you just want to optimize your content for the search engines, right? So, and for the people. So you have to be very careful. You're optimizing only for the Google or for the users, because if someone is going to read it and is well optimized semantically for the Google, and then you have someone who is ready to buy, let's say, I don't know, your real estate, or that is worth, what's 1 million in London, and you've got this user and he's browsing your website, and then the content doesn't speak to your user, then your semantic doesn't really help, right?
Okay. So what are the other tips that you've got? So a good old-fashioned link building. I guess you've got to be really careful about the toxic links, though. There's toxic backlinks, because you can go to some very rogue agencies out there, and what they'll do is they'll give businesses lots of different backlinks that actually cause damage to people's websites. That's true, isn't it?
It used to be that way, but Google now has gone significantly so good that it can really cut the sort of trash in the internet. It's so good at that these days that it's is smart enough to, let's say, to understand, should you be ranking for these sort of keywords or not? Yes, there were, unfortunately, in our business, let's put this way, right? That because it's not regulated. This is the problem. Marketing is not regulated like any other businesses. So anyone else can market themselves the way how they want and have some sort of own style. It is true that that's the problem. So yes, this toxic, that used to be another buzz as well. But if you look at the businesses that have been in digital in Google for a very long time, yes, they went through the difficult times. They had to remove the toxic links. But generally speaking, after this, how many updates we had? Now the good, let's put it away, good agencies, now they're even better because they don't have, those pesky bad ones that used to be easily available. But again, the professional ones do the professional business with the professional business, right? So it's a B2B or B2C, and like you can say the results. So if there are results, you have no problem, right? If you are not ethical, let's put it this way, in your work, I think sooner or later people will find out about you, so you will be out of the business. So that's just another thing, and I think that those times gone. So that's really good, because Google has learned how to prevent that. But yes, the spammers, the internet, the spam is still there. That's unfortunately, but that's everywhere. White crime, blue crime is still offline in the world, same. So I think it's just the analogy to our what's real, right? And we have this online world, but it's as safe as the offline, or as you can say dangerous, especially for the young kids, and even for the adults as well, because you don't know who is out there, right? But yeah, somehow people they do their businesses online these days and seems to be fine. We're growing, right? So yeah, that would be my answer to that.
Okay, so look, that's some of the challenges of building good traffic online, of developing a strategy, putting some tactics in place that are going to drive online traffic. So tell me, that can be a challenging environment. So what about your challenges? How have you found developing the business over the last few years?
You see, because I'm an engineer by my background, I find out that, it's difficult to run a business when you have that engineering mind. So I had to change that. So that was my challenge, my personal challenge for me. Running business is definitely, you need to be good with people. very good with the people. And engineers tend to be, good with the technology, they like the tools, laptop, you can play with your things, you can do your own stuff. But talking with the people requires communications. I've never been good at that, not to that degree, so I had to learn that. And I had to give up control, because I think that's the problem with the entrepreneurs. So they're setting up the business. They're very good at what they do. They specialize, but then they're hiring people because they want to scale it. And they want to have a bigger business, but they need to give up the control. And so I think for me, the biggest change was to learn how to give people sort of ability so they can do what you've already built. So you have your SOP, and then let them thrive, let them fail as well. Let them learn anything. But if they want to, if they're passionate about or they like what they do, I think they get it. Surely they wouldn't have to possess certain skills, but in my business, it was about the trust, I've realized. And then the people that really want to learn something, they will figure out. I mean, I'm sure every entrepreneur or every CEO has been in a situation that they never know even what to do in that. So they had to figure out that. It's the same with the people. And if you see they have the talent, they want to be with you in your business. And I think that's what it is. At least in my case, that was the biggest challenge, to find right people, communicate with them. Obviously, many more challenges. Yeah, the communication was the biggest challenge for me, at least in my business.
So it's often been said that there's three types of people who develop a business. There is an entrepreneur, there is the technician, and then there is the manager. It's the three requirements of building a business. The entrepreneur is the person with the vision. They've seen a problem that needs solving. The technician often is the one who turns into the entrepreneur, but they come from a technical background or a delivery background. So they could be, whether it's a hairdresser or a developer, they still come from a doing mindset as opposed to a designing mindset. And then, of course, there is the manager. The manager comes from a delegating mindset. It's about pushing a process forward. Now, you started as a technician and then you kind of evolved into an entrepreneur and a manager. What do you think your split is now in terms of doing and designing in the business?
Finally, I don't have to do that. I don't know if finally. I don't know if that's the right answer. Maybe I had to, because there's no other way. I cannot be in that technical part now. Cannot be involved. So that is now sort of not outsourced, but delegated, I would say. Yeah. So where I am right now, I don't even have to manage now people, which is great. Although that was a big part. But I think if you go through this, then you will be able to find your managers that, they will be your right, left hand, however you want to express yourself. And yeah, I definitely will agree that entrepreneur will be the person with lots of ideas, but it has to be a person that at some point it has to be a deal maker. You can go out to the conferences, can speak with the people and influence the clients. And then, I have a lead, let's say, let's put it this way, then I'll connect you with my manager and they will do the discovery call this way. But people also realize that, like your customers, they buy your brand or they buy people in your company, or they buy because of you. I think it used to be that way with the Apple, right? Before that, when we used to have a Steve Jobs, Apple was about Steve Jobs. And now it's more Apple, but they've lost the front man. So the front man is very important as well, because the front man drives the company. But if you have a good product, good service, many other things are competitive enough, you can be successful without the front man. Some people have Elon Musk is a good front man, but now it's a little bit questionable. I think you would have to study and see what's in your niche and what works, what people really want. If you understand your customer, what he wants, and you can give him that, I think this is the biggest. You can grow him. It's the most. I mean, it depends what you're selling. If you're selling sneakers, right, you don't grow the business. You're just delivering the excellence and you're delivering the quality product, and sort of people are happy when they buy your product, right? Say with the cars, for example. But being B2B is more about building a relationship with a client, and you are essentially sooner or later you are the big part of the business, let's say, right? Because you grow a certain part of someone else's business. So if you can drive, someone else's Google traffic and you know how to do it, that's already a strategic point, because you make a difference in someone else's business.
Interesting perspective. Okay, let's talk about business leaders. Who's inspired you? Who do you look up to and think that guy did it, really like what they did, or that lady?
They keep changing all the time. Richard Branson, for sure, hasn't changed that, So Richard Branson is the one that has always been inspiring, because he's the one that he went through so many other businesses and challenges, and he's still the same person, you would say. He didn't change much. He didn't go into politics, let's put it this way. That's also very interesting. Sometimes you see those big entrepreneurs that go out of what they specialize in. The biggest investors, that I forgot his name, really old guy now.
Warren Buffett.
I like his old style. He's so true to that. And he shows that, it's entire life. And it takes so much time to get there. It's not the 5 years. Now we have these bomb sort of businesses where someone else makes money within 1 year, 2 years, and then suddenly they just billionaires, millionaires, right? And sometimes I'm thinking, it's just the luck. Is it just the luck, or is it? Because it can be just a pure luck as well, or be in the right time in the right place. That's also. So I think I tend to look at, for me, because I have a family right now, I just realized how difficult it is to run a business, run your people in your business, because business at the end of the day is for the people as well. It's for making a profit, for sure. But your business without your people wouldn't be a business, right? So you need to take care of your people in your business, in your company. And so it's like your second family. And my first family obviously is my wife and kids. And now when I look at someone like a role model for me, it would be someone who's got a family, someone who's been in the business for very long time, someone who's been with that family as well for the very long time and has been successful in those two sort of layers, personally and business-wise, in terms of how he's running his own business. Is it ethical enough? Is he treating his own people in the company in a very good way, so they want to be with him? So yeah, that would be my way how I look at it. And I think Warren Buffett, Richard Branson perfectly fit.
So the definition of a great business leader is someone who combines great business attributes with great personal attributes and is faithful and authentic to what they do and the world around them. That's what you're saying, right?
At least for me, that would be my definition. Yeah, that's how yeah. And 10 years ago, you would ask me that, it would be a completely different answer.
Yeah. No, I get that. And I completely understand and agree with what you're saying there, because it's integrity. Businesses, great business leaders, what they do is they design a business that's going to deliver the lifestyle that they want. They don't build a business and then see, this lifestyle I've got, what am I doing here? Is the business only me? Do I own the business? Who's in control? So if you live with integrity, if you live with authenticity, then there's a greater chance of you having a more rounded life and business. Yeah.
Well said. Yeah. I mean, yeah. I can say one more thing. I remember when I used to do this freelance, and I said, I can't do this on my own, everything. I need the people. I need to be around people, even though we are fully remote, but without the people, I feel miserable. I need to have people around me. At least I know they are there. And if I can delegate something, I know they are there. They're going to do this for me. So I think this is it's like another family. You can have someone, and it's amazing. Same with the clients, sort of. Like if you work with the clients long term, you go through the challenges same way as you would go through the, challenges with your wife or with the kids.
So Milosz, last question for you.
Yep.
You're walking down the street, you see your 18-year-old self walking towards you. What do you tell them? What's the brief message that you leave them with?
I don't have the answer to that, because 18 years old, when I was 18 years old then, the technology was different. Life was different. When I was 15 years old, that was my first time when I had internet. They are, in terms of age, they're younger than me, right? And they had access to the internet. I see that they had much better start. So I don't have that answer, really, because I know that there are some values. I would say integrity for sure. Find what you like, stay truthful. Yes, something along the lines like this. Don't follow the technology, because technology is changing so much, So certainly there are things in your life that never change. So be authentic in what you do, that's for sure. because then you'll feel better with you for a very long time. And that's for sure. What I would say is definitely don't follow trends and stay away from social media, because that's just, I remember I thought this was when I had a Facebook 2006. I was one of the first one and still have it. But yeah, I see there's more and more social media. It's just actually at the end of the day, it doesn't really help much to that degree. It can also, cannot help you. It depends how much you're using, so there's many things that I would say the young generation is completely different, right? The world that was 20 years ago or 30 years ago is completely different than it is now. So I don't think that probably anything that is universal advice. What would you give as a universal advice, you as a Matt? Maybe you're much more experienced than I.
Get your head out your screen. Look around at the world, because it's an incredible place. Treat people with respect and keep an open mind. That would be what I would tell my 18-year-old self.
Yep. So I was close to that by referring to the Facebook, for example. Get out of the screen. Yeah, surely. Yeah, because this indoor, anything that is indoor is quite. It just doesn't really help on the long term. Yeah, and treat people.
And keep an open mind. Keep on learning. Keep an open mind. Keep on soaking up information, opinions, and form your own. Don't allow social media and what you read on social media to formulate the way you believe in the world, because you'll change your mind.
Yeah, I wonder what Richard Branson will say.
Yeah, well, that's interesting. When I speak to him, if I ever get the privilege, then I will tell him.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your time today. I've really appreciated speaking with you. You're someone who's very passionate about your business. You have some profound thoughts and views on many different subjects. So thank you so much for your time. I look forward to seeing what ChiliFruit is doing in the future. You guys really know what you're doing. Any SaaS businesses out there should be making a beeline for ChiliFruit straight away. So thank you so much, Milosz. Have a great day. Let's catch up soon.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.